the level of biasness into this investigation and research that will show you as it relates to the political biasness of Paula Llewelyn, right? Preserving the Jamaica Labour Party corruption status quo, right? That cases that involve the People's National Party, Paula Llewelyn have a zeal to deal with it. And cases that involve the Jamaica Labour Party, Paula Llewelyn have no zeal to deal with it. I am not making up these things, right? I have nothing personal against Paula, but I'm going to play the evidence for people to see that, right? The evidence that has been recorded, tabulated, that is there on Google for everyone to see it. And so then now we understand why this government wanted Paula Llewelyn to be there. Let us put up the first information of the research that I have done as it relates to Paula Llewelyn execute herself without no hesitation when it comes to the People's National Party. Let us look.
Is prosecuted as DPP.
Paula Vanessa Llewellyn was first appointed Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, in March 2008, replacing Kent Pantry, who had served for 10 years from 1998 to 2008. She was the first woman to hold the post. 6 men served before her from 1962, when Jamaica gained its independence from Britain, until her appointment in 2008. After 16 years in the position, having benefited from an extension of her tenure when she turned 60, the now 63-year-old Llewellyn has the distinction of being Jamaica's longest-serving DPP. This St. Hugh's High School and Norman Manley Law School graduate grew up in Pembroke Hall, St. Andrew. She did her internship in Antigua, before returning to Jamaica to take up a position as clerk of the court at the St. James Magistrates Court. In 1986, Llewellyn was appointed a Crown Counsel in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP. She was made a Deputy Director in 1993 and Senior Deputy Director in 1999. Llewellyn stepped aside after a ruling by the Constitutional Court on April 19, 2024, that upheld a submission from the opposition People's National Party that an amendment to the Constitution to facilitate a second extension of her tenure as DPP was unconstitutional, null and void. The government plans to appeal the decision. In the meantime, Claudette Thompson, Senior Deputy DPP, has been appointed Acting DPP, effective April 22, 2024. As DPP, Llewellyn has won and lost some of Jamaica's most high-profile court cases over the past 15 years. Here's 5 of them. Cuban light bulb case. She lost the highly contentious Cuban light bulb case involving then junior minister in the People's National Party administration, Kern Spencer, in which she often clashed with the presiding judge, senior resident magistrate Judith Pusey, and Spencer's lead attorney, King's Counsel K.D. Knight. In March 2014, Pusey dismissed all charges against Spencer and his former personal assistant, Colleen Wright. Pusey stated that, having examined the evidence in this matter and how the matter was handled, it is my considered opinion that these accused should not be called upon to state their defense. Spencer and Wright had been on trial since 2009, accused of money laundering and illicit enrichment arising from the implementation of the Cuban light bulb program. The bulbs, which should have been distributed free of charge, were a gift from the Cuban government. Stone Crusher gangsters walked free. In February 2012, the DPP's case against Eldon Calvert, the alleged leader of the notorious Stone Crusher gang that was based in Montego Bay, St. James, collapsed. The murder case, which included 2 other men, was thrown out after it was revealed that the investigating officer, Detective Sergeant Michael Sergiu, fabricated the evidence. After it was thrown out, Senior Pune Judge Gloria Smith remarked that it was a very sad day in the history of justice. Llewellyn later said she could not proceed with the case, because handwriting experts for the defense and the Crown confirmed the witness statement was written and signed by Sergiu. Llewellyn said she was told that Sergiu had fled the island. Calvert was shot and killed by gunmen in Salt Spring, St. James, in 2014. The Vibes Cartel Verdict. Llewellyn's office famously won the Vibes Cartel murder case, which, at the time, featured the longest ever trial in Jamaica. The popular entertainer, real name Adidja Palmer, and 3 co-accused were sentenced to life behind bars for the killing of their friend, Clive "Lizard" Williams. This case is once more in the news and its final outcome is yet to be determined. The Court of Appeal has set June 10, 2024 as the date it will begin hearing submissions on whether to order a retrial for Cartel and his co-accused. The order from the court comes weeks after the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in the UK overturned the murder convictions and sentences of Cartel, Sean Campbell, Kahira Jones, and Andre St. John, due to jury misconduct. The matter was subsequently remitted to the local appeal court to decide on the matter of a retrial. The Trafigura Bahir scandal involving the PNP. By March 2022, when senior officers of the People's National Party, PNP, were forced to testify in open court in the Trafigura Bahir matter, the scandal that rocked the Portia Simpson Miller-led PNP in 2006 had been around for 18 years. Despite pressure for her office to drop the matter, since no charges were brought in Jamaica, Llewellyn's office fully cooperated with the authorities in the Netherlands who were probing whether $31 million given to the PNP in 2006 by the Dutch company was a bribe. Dutch companies are not allowed to make political donations. The cooperation between the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Dutch authorities was based on provisions under the Mutual Assistance in Criminal Matters Treaty, which allows signatory countries to ask for help in producing documents and questioning witnesses. The PNP bigwigs who had to testify after initially refusing to do so in private before losing an appeal at the Privy Council were Colin Campbell, who was PNP General Secretary in 2006, Robert Pickersgill, who was PNP Chairman, businessman Norton Hines, and Member of Parliament Philip Paulwell. Former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, who was PNP President, was excused from testifying on medical grounds. Llewellyn helped secure right of appeal for prosecutors. Appealing a sentence. In October 2022, Llewellyn would hail a historic verdict in her office's first sentencing appeal as a victory for victims of crime. This was after the Court of Appeal overturned a 12-year sentence that was imposed on Westmoreland gangster Lindell Powell for 2 murders. The court instead imposed life sentences for each of the 2 counts, with a stipulation that he serves 24 years and 7 months before being eligible for parole. Llewellyn had pushed for her office to be given the right to appeal some sentences it considered too lenient. Justice Bertram Morrison had sentenced Powell to 12 years on the 2 counts and ordered that he serves 10 years before becoming eligible for parole consideration. In its first use of the law that was passed in 2021, the state prosecutor successfully appealed the sentence.
All right. So, people, what I want you to extract from that is the zeal that Paula Llewellyn take to deal with the Cuban light bulb case, which she had lost, right? Now, the Trafigura case, again, where she had lost. Now, let me set the record straight. There's nothing wrong with Paula Llewellyn as the DPP wanted to investigate those cases and deal with it expeditiously. Nothing wrong with that. However, what we are looking for as it relates to the DPP is to balance justice. To say that the same expeditiousness that you use in dealing with the People's National Party, you have to utilize it when it comes to the Jamaica Labour Party to create checks and balance, because you are not the DPP for GLP. And certainly, you are not the DPP for the PNP. What you are, Ms. Paula Llewellyn, is the People's Jamaican DPP. You are representing justice for all Jamaicans, whether they're poor, rich, or whatever. Every single Jamaican must be treated fairly where justice is concerned. So we show that. Now, what we are going to do now is present cases that you either utilize delay tactics not to deal with it, or you keep total silence, or you don't insert yourself any attack. We are going to show you those cases. It clearly shows Paula is there to cover for GLP and exactly pretending. And so then that's why we are worried about this DPP who has that level of association with Paula Llewelyn. It is like, I'm not saying that anything wrong, with Paula Llewelyn and senior DPP having an association. They are lawyers. They are prosecutors. But I am saying, as it relates to when you have a system where the DPP is corrupted, right? And in extension, extend that corruption to one of her associates to carry on the status quo of the corruption. I and the entire citizen of Jamaica have a problem with that. So then, let us go now to the first clip and read something as it relates to Assistant Commissioner of Police speaking as it relates to Paula Llewelyn behavior because a Jamaica Labour Party member of Parliament involved in this case. Look at this. Remember, she's inserted herself in the Trafigura case. She inserted herself in the light bulb case. So we are saying, then okay, all right, why you have not inserted yourself in this case? Look at this case. And it is not only this case. Several cases that I'm going to point out tonight. Case number one. Let us move towards it. Case number one. Let us deal with case number one. I'll come up with change it, right? Okay. So, people, let us look at this now. This is case number one that we are going to compare. Prospective, prominent Jamaican politician implicated in murder. Director of Public Prosecution, DPP Paula Llewelyn. Informant lacks credibility. When you hear that, people, the first thing out of Paula Llewelyn's mouth, informant lacks credibility. First thing out of our mouth. As a media, we are hard pressed to expose alleged atrocities, corruption, and misconduct in whatever shape or form. This exposure is not without considerable risk, like legal action for defamation of character, liable by the prominent accused if a politician. In fact, legal action for defamation of character was initiated but discontinued. Prosecutorial misconduct. Come on, Paul. The DPP Paula Llewelyn responding to questions regarding her decision not to prosecute, stated to the effect that the evidence did not meet the threshold and alleged witnesses have credibility issues. She had no choice but not to proceed. Now, in the Trafigura case, the evidence was not meeting the threshold, and you still proceed with it. In the Trafigura case, Paula Llewelyn, you still proceed with it. former Assistant Commissioner of Jamaican Constabulary Force, JCF Les Green, previously of the Scotland Yard, has been commenting on the case. In an interview published in a Miami newspaper, Green was critical of the DPP's handling of the case. Yes, because corruption. Do be reminded that this is an ongoing investigation. The DPP has stated above asserted inter alia that the evidence was shaky and possibly prosecution witnesses lack credibility. Put the case before the court, Paula. Make the case try. Make the judge determine that. Make jurors determine that. Not you. You did not give the PNP a chance with Trafigura. You decided that you want to take this case to court. Here now, to the fact that there's a JLP member of parliament involved. You crush it. This is the corruption with you, Paula. Right, let me read back that over. The DPP has stated above asserted inter alia that the evidence was shaky and possibly prosecution witness lack credibility. Possibly prosecution witness lack credibility. Paula, put the case through the judiciary. For the DPP to have conspired with the police to prefer criminal charges, knowing very well that the chances of conviction would be as successful as a peanut shell surviving in hell would have been shameful. You are not the one to decide that, Paula. Put the case through the judiciary. Put the damn case through the judiciary. You have put Trafigura through the judiciary, and you didn't have half of what you have here. In my perspective, it would be grossly irresponsible for this constitutional officer to have acted speculatively or in a reckless manner, having sworn to protect the human rights and freedoms of all, even the accused, and thereby upholding the Constitution. Did you consider that when you are dealing with the Trafigura case? To have done otherwise would be a dereliction of duty, if not also a betrayal of trust. We would have been very scathing if the DPP was deemed to be guilty of judicial misconduct. We all know brief. We all know brief for the DPP Paula Llewelyn. In fact, we are on record of being critical of her handling of the case of ex-Mayor Sternet Arton of Lucy Hanover. You will recall that Derek Harrison, Contractor General of the Office of the Contractor General, OCG, disagreed with the DPP not to prosecute Arton. Harrison took the DPP to court before the court ruled the DPP office stopped the case and reversed their decision not to prosecute Arton. We never failed to say the DPP Llewellyn had egg on her face. Now, today we say, congrats Paula Llewellyn for deciding not to prosecute that prominent politician. You cannot build a case on shaky evidence. It was not the DPP who failed to renew Les Green's employment contract. To former PNP Minister Noel Ascott, we say, do not comment in a manner that gives the impression that you are trying to politicize our judicial system. Justice is supposed to be colorblind. We salute the DPP for our integrity and professionalism. We are not about running careers on unreliable, speculative evidence or malice. We have no ulterior motive but the truth. But yet, you take up Trafigura and you put on this. As usual, the verdict is here. Now, let us go to Rural Read. Fritz Pinnock set for January 12th, return to court. This is what I'm talking about, people. A January 12, 2024 mention date has been fixed in the multi-million-dollar fraud matter involving former Education Minister Rural Read, former Caribbean Maritime University, CMU President Fitz Pinnock, and their three co-accused in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. The new date was scheduled last Friday when the accused appeared in court and had their bails extended. The two men, along with Reed, wife Sharon, their daughter Cheryl, and Jamaica Labour Party councillor for Brownstone Division Kim Brown Lawrence, have been charged with a range of offenses, including breaches of the Corruption Prevention Act, conspiracy to defraud, misconduct in a public office at a common law, and breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act. The accused were charged by the Financial Investigation Division following an investigation into nearly 50 million, which was alleged diverted from the CMU. On Friday, when the case was called up, Lawrence was assigned a legal aid attorney and disclosure was ordered. I mentioned it was subsequently set for January for the parties to determine the way forward. On the previous date, the parties were to agree on a date for a plea and case management hearing. Meanwhile, Reed and Pinnock lawyer Hugh Wildman told the Gleaner that he had filed the documents to appeal the recent full court ruling in which his client lost their battle to quash the chief parish court Judge Chester Crooks, ruling that they have a case to answer in the multi-million-dollar fraud. Reed and Pinnock had sought a judicial review of Crooks' February 2021 decision, claiming that the judge should not have ruled in the matter as he had admitted to a conflict of interest. The judge ruling was in response to a preliminary objection raised by Reed and Pinnock on the basis that the charges against them should be nullified, as the FID, which leveled the charges, had no authority in law to arrest or charge them. Are you serious? However, the men took issue with the decision after Crooks declared that he was recusing himself from the trial because of a perceived conflict of interest and sought of a judicial review. Take that away. The point I'm proving, people, let me say this. The point I'm driving at, here is Rural Reed, supposed to go back to court January 12, 2024. And no one hearing what is happening to the case. No one is hearing what is happening to the case. No one. No one has any understanding what been transpired. Did they go to court January 12, 2024? What happened? Paula Llewellyn has no right to speak, to even keep a press conference. No one saying nothing. Even all those social media bloggers are asking about this case. Mainstream media keeps silent on this case. Nothing, nothing at all. Come on, come on, come on, Paula. Come on. You did not behave like that as it relates to the Trafigura and the light bulb scandal. You never behave so. Paula is the first DPP that showed her political affiliation so openly and barefaced. The office of the DPP must be upheld to the high standard and integrity. Blessings, Valerie. Blessings, Valerie. Now, let us go into something that really mind-boggling and where it shocked the entire Jamaican people and will shock the world at large. When we look on the SSL case, I know Paula Llewellyn. People, I want to really speak. We look at the Trafigura case. You understand? As it relates to the accusation of donation. And Paula Llewellyn insert herself in that case. Insert herself in that case. Right? No. You have the SSL. You have the SSL case. Where Andrew let's mix up in the SSL. NHT money was put into SSL. People look at her. The pension money was put into SSL. Just imagine NHT contributors who find it difficult to get an NHT house. Been contributing for over 20 years, 30 years, and God, he knows it. Andrew Honest and Nigel Clark take out the NHT money, pension money, and all sort of money and put it into SSL. And Paula Llewellyn silent. People, I am showing you the viciousness. Paula Llewellyn silent. Then tell me something now. People make talk. If Trafigura never have anything to do with the treasury, Trafigura don't have nothing to do with the treasury. Make talk, people. It is not like the People's National Party government go into the treasury and take out some money. What happened, you understand, is Trafigura donate some money, right? And because Bruce Golden was up for the political rivalry, he wants to create mayhem because he believed that Trafigura was supporting the People's National Party mechanism, political campaign to go against him. This is why you have Trafigura existing, people. Over nothing else. And Paula Llewellyn, as a DPP, find time to go in a Trafigura, to involve in a Trafigura and last the case. Now we can look upon that. Now we can look upon something now we're fundamentally serious, something will affect our treasury. Nigel Clark, Andrew Honest, taking HC money, put it into SSL. Take the pension money, put it into the SSL. Paula Llewellyn. Paula Llewellyn. You put yourself in Trafigura. You put yourself, right? Now, and look, you have a situation where taxpayers' money, the treasury, under attack from your JLP affiliates. What did you do, Paula Llewellyn? Take away yourself. You take away yourself, Paula. Yes, Paula. You take away yourself, Paula. I'm going to remind you, LTE with Carol. This is why they are fighting for her. And as long as a DPP is in the office who is affiliated with them, they will not be held accountable. You are so right, LTE with Carol. You're so right. So make Mr. Sensation expose them. Paula Llewellyn. Right? Now, when you look at that, just see what Paula Llewellyn insert herself in. Right? As it relates to the accusation of a company, you understand, who had given donation to the People's National Party. Any money didn't, let me ask you a question, Paula. Any money didn't come out of the treasury? Let me ask you a question, Paula. Did any money taken out of the treasury? Bruce Golden fear to have Portia Simpson political campaign, you understand, being sponsored and go up against him. Right? And so then Bruce Golden created mayhem. And then you, Paula Llewellyn, defend it because you get the post under Bruce Golden government. That's why you defend it, Paula. That's why you defend it. Because it becomes DPP, you understand, under Bruce Golden government. Say the different Bruce Golden. Yeah, you different Bruce Golden. You have to propagandize. You have to propagandize. Right? You help to propagandize Trafigura situation. That's what you have done, Paula Llewelyn. So when we talk, I make the people them understand. Trafigura was the crime. You know that Trafigura was the crime. But a situation that was the crime, you insert yourself in. No, SSL is a crime. SSL is a crime. Where are you, Paul? Andrew wants to take out NHT money and put it into SSL. Andrew wants to done worse than that. Andrew wants to take out over 600 million and give to Dexim. Give to Dexim. Where the world know that Dexim, right, has done corruption before. Europe banned Dexim. You were warned in Parliament not to deal with Dexim. Did you take the warning? You didn't take the warning because you and Dexim are the same thing. You never want the warning. You know about Dexim, you know, before you give Dexim NHT, take up $600 million to give to Dexim. $600 billion you take and give to Dexim. Right? And I know NHT don't make an interest on their money. Dexim return the money not with 1% interest. Paula Llewelyn, what did you do? What did you do? Let me give you another case that is clear and mind-boggling. Jean and Panton. Jean and Panton said she said what she said as a result of being influenced by Cross-Kerry. Cross-Kerry instructed her what to say. Paula Llewelyn, did you hear that? Better yet, Fitzbailey, have you heard that? No, you will not hear that. Paula Llewelyn will not hear that. Panton, who has knowledge, inside knowledge as a wealth advisor, she is speaking out that her initial statement claiming that she is responsible to take the money was indeed not the truth. Panton, right, fully explained that she was coerced by who? Cross-Kerry. Fitzbailey. We see it upon pulpit of preaching, you see? Hey, me say if God was like man, you're dead over the pulpit. But you're there pulpit to preach. You of all person. Fitzbailey. Then I church a preach. That's why I tell you, say, man, if man is like God, as you reach on the church doorstep, you drop down. You're wicked. Yeah, you're wicked and evil. So Fitzbailey, you didn't hear that? No, you didn't hear what? You didn't hear what Panton said? Panton, who has in-depth knowledge of the runnings, the internal runnings of the system, saying to you. So then, let me ask you a question, Fitzbailey. Did you take a statement from Panton saying that? And so then, that statement now should lead to an interrogation as it relates to you, Cross-Kerry? Mr. Fitzbailey, have you spoken to you, Kraskeri? In light of what Ms. Pantan said? In any civilized democracy. If Ms. Pantan said something like that, if the jurisdiction was United States, if the jurisdiction was in the UK, if the jurisdiction was in Canada, an interrogation would pursue as it relates to you, Kraskeri, and the pursuit of evidence as it relates to investigation to either corroborate what Ms. Pantan said. If what she said is true in terms of corroborating as it relates to the evidence that would establish. Did you take the time in doing that, Mr. Fitzbailey? At this point, in terms of which I speak, have you spoken to your Kraskeri, judging to the fact as it relates to the history, the MO, modus operandi that you would have realized with your Kraskeri, knowing to the fact that similar situation as it relates to Pinsa, as it relates to Paul Cheng Young, as it relates to the history where you Kraskeri run afoul of previous events. And so then it will make sense as it relates to what Jean and Pantan said. Knowing to the fact that you Kraskeri has an history. You Kraskeri has an history. But no, Fitzbailey, by design, is not a police officer, but he's a political operative of the Jamaica Labour Party. Paula Llewelyn, as we speak, is not really a DPP for the people, but a political operative for the GLP. And so then we know for certainty that birds of a feather flocks together. Now, Miss Paula Llewelyn, Fitzbailey, I am just begin to touch you where it hurts, because the next case that I'm presenting is another mind-boggling case where not only people in Jamaica is wondering what the heck is happening. Why this guy cannot be charged? The affiliation with the Prime Minister is a labor right. Then why Paula Llewelyn has not seen this case? Fitzbailey, let us look on this next case.
10-year-old Jermaine Jr. was found with multiple stab wounds and a single gunshot wound to the head in the reception room of attorney Patrick Bailey, who just happened to be a close friend and lawyer of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. A knife, believed to have been the one used to stab Jermaine Jr., was also found beside the body. Patrick Bailey and Jermaine Jr. had an attorney-client relationship for 20 years prior to the murder. Around 1996, Jermaine Jr. was mistakenly shot multiple times by the police in Hope Pastures, St. Andrew, after they received a report that a robbery had occurred in the area. The police believed Jr. matched the description given in the report. Bailey represented Jr. in the lawsuit that was filed and won. That's how they became friends. The facts of the case are that while Junior was in the United States, he paid his attorney to buy a property for him. When he returned to Jamaica, he discovered that his money was missing and no property. Junior and Bailey came to an agreement that Junior would stay in one of Bailey's houses until his money was returned. The house Junior stayed was a house in the same yard of Bailey's main house at the back. This was not the first time Bailey was accused of stealing clients' money. In 2015, Bailey was arrested on charges of conspiracy to defraud in connection with a land deal that took place in 1996. The police alleged that a property was transferred to another person without the owner's knowledge. In 2022, Bailey was struck off the roll of attorneys eligible to practice in Jamaica for failure to handing over $17,640 to a client. Bailey collected money from a client and held it on trust. When the person requested the money, Bailey made several promises to hand it over, but that was never done. Bailey also represented Andrew Holness in the purchase of land on which his Beverly Hills mansion is built, via a St. Lucia registered company that Andrew set up to purchase the land while he was on a visit to Jamaica, as falsely written on the purchase documents. Documents from the National Land Agency showed that Bailey was the attorney who witnessed the notation at the time the property was being transferred. On the night of the murder, Bailey told the police that he stumbled on the body at 4 a.m. and had not heard anything. Bailey claimed that he was fast asleep when the killing occurred. The police said that there were no signs of forced entry. Police Commissioner Major General Anderson is cousin to Andrew Holness. For some reason, Bailey was immediately ruled out as a suspect. The morning after the murder, Bailey was reported to be unwell, and his doctor, who also happened to be one of Bailey's clients, Jeff the Ford, informed the police that he should be confined to bed and was not fit to give a statement at the time. In 2014, Jeff the Ford was found guilty of corruption after he tried to bribe a police officer to release 2 Surinamese men who were caught with nearly $60 million. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison. It is alleged that the JLP Member of Parliament, an attorney Orlando Terrelonge, who is the legal partner of Bailey, was involved in the murder of Junior. The police reported at the time that men from the Umbrella Gang, in Orlando Terrelonge's constituency, were under investigation for Jermaine Jr.'s murder. Orlando Terrelonge, who is openly gay, is alleged to have been in a sexual relationship with Patrick Bailey. According to Jermaine Jr.'s brother, David Roberts, it makes no sense to seek justice because nothing will come of it. The police damn know who did it. The police have faced public criticisms over their handling of the investigation. The average Jamaican citizen would not get off this case as easy as Bailey has. Corruption permeates the legal system. It will only end when Jamaicans say, enough is enough.
Well, Jamaica, we are here. Well, Jamaica, we are here today, and we have seen that in spite of all the evil that covered the land of Jamaica, Father God is fighting for us, because we are seeing that they're slowly crumbling. Now we have moved one of the obstacles, which is Paula Llewelyn, and I can say this to Paula Llewelyn, that as long as you live, you will never ever put back your foot into the DPP's office. Me the bet you that. Now, let us show you the antics with Paula. The antics with Paula, where again, so many mishaps that Paula had done. And so then for this new DPP, right, it's endorsing Paula years of service to be so shiny and so forth. No. Read this case, because this is just unbelievable as it relates to Paula Llewelyn. DPP defends rape trial despite DNA shocker. Can you imagine? Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewelyn is standing by her decision to continue the prosecution of the 2 men charged with the rape of 5 women in St. James, despite people despite, people listen, despite DNA samples not matching the two accused. Can you believe this, people? Let us read about that over. Let us try to make this thinking in our head. Director of Public Prosecution Paula Llewelyn is standing by her decision to continue the prosecution of the two men charged with rape of 5 women in St. James, despite DNA samples not matching the two accused. Now you tell me, you have a strong scientific evidence, right, as it relates to swabs, as it relates to bodily fluid that was swabs collected, and where DNA has been proven that the person that you have in custody or the person that you have charged, right, are not the culprits, and you, Paula Llewellyn, still decide to proceed. Let us read on. Given the circumstances of the case, the public interest and the nature of the other evidence, we would be usurping the role of the supreme trial, the judge, if we were to stop the prosecution, Llewellyn told the Sunday Gleaner. Given the circumstances of the case, the public interest. Hold on. Let me ask a question right here, sir. I think you decide a case on the credibility of the evidence. How the public interest has to do with this in terms of you making a decision on a particular case. You have a case in front of you as it relates to a rape case. In the initial investigation, swabbing and all of those things would be done, right, to collect bodily fluid that passed between the rapist and the person being raped. That would be now carefully collected, put in evidence. Now, the professional persons would have now tested the evidence and realized that, okay, the samples that we collected is not matching up with the two gentlemen that we had pursued. And Paula Llewellyn is saying that as a result of the public interest, not as a result of the credibility of the evidence. This is what we can't understand. I can never understand this. I can never understand this. Anyway, let us move on. It is for the judge to hear the evidence and then decide if there is proof beyond doubt. Hold on the Paula Llewellyn. Hold on the Paula Llewellyn. Me catch you right there, sir. So them case the way you they drop. And you now push them in the judiciary. And you are saying that as much evidence is not there, and you are making the determination that you can lose the case and not giving the judge the opportunity, not giving the case the opportunity to be fully tried. How you say right, so no. Let me quote what you say right, so no. Quote, open quote. It is for a judge to hear the evidence and then decide if there is proof beyond doubt. So then Paula Llewellyn, you don't think they Andrew only statutory declaration that none of them 2021 to 2023, because the 23 can't go certified. You don't think that Andrew Wallace should be charged. And that's what you say right there, so. It is for a judge to hear the evidence and then decide if there is a proof beyond doubt. Because in this case, if you can collect scientific evidence that tell us, say, watch out, them two money are not guilty, and them two money are do it. No, we could put Andrew Wallace's statutory declaration in this. Where him can't bring up no form of justification as it relates to illicit enrichment. Why you not decide, say, all right, the police must charge Andrew Wallace and put it in the judiciary. And so then the judge must hear the evidence and then decide if there's a proof beyond doubt. Why not do this, Paula Llewelyn? Why not do this? You say this in a Paula Llewelyn. I don't say it. I don't say it. I don't say it. See, you say it, yes, so. You say it, yes, so. It is for a judge to hear the evidence and then decide if there is a proof beyond doubt. So the case with Andrew Wallace for the corruption prosecutor dropped because it was time overdue as according to them. Why you never put it in the court and for the court to hear the evidence and then decide if there is a proof beyond doubt? We don't understand. We don't understand this, Father. Here you have a case where the scientific evidence is telling you that these are not the men. And you deny the scientific evidence. But reader, added Llewellyn of the incident which attracted national interest last September. So what on there? What on there now? SSL no attract national interest. Paula Llewellyn, may I ask you a question? SSL no track national interest. SSL almost make the people them take a run at the bank. The people them almost make a run for the bank, you know, for the banking system, you know. SSL no attract national interest. Boy, may I tell you how you're biased. May I tell you how you're politically connected. Right? Let us read on. Added Llewellyn of the incident which attracted national interest last September after it was disclosed that the 5 females, including an 8-year-old, had been raped. Since last week, when the court was told that the DNA samples suggested that the 2 brothers were not the rapists, legal minds have questioned why the DPP did not withdraw the case. Me want to know. And what basis, Paula Llewellyn, that you would have? What legal basis? When you have scientific evidence that speak contrary, that the gentlemen who you have charged, they are not guilty. But yet you proceed with this in court. And you refuse for Patrick Bailey to be interrogated. Refuse for Andrew Wallace to be charged. Knowing to the fact that Andrew Wallace cannot explain it well. So how you explain this? How you explain this? How do you explain this? Take that away, let me talk to the people. Because that is the final clip for the night, so I want to express myself. My people, can you explain that to me? Because I am so lost. It's like the DPP senile. It's scientific evidence. As it relates to the swabs that were collected from the rape victims. that the swabs were tested and proven that these men, the two men who previously charged, were not guilty of the crime. But the DPP still held bent to pursue this is madness as scientific evidence. She said she charges them based on the public view and opinion. Are you serious? That's not a court of law. That's not an evidence. People, Angeli, I thought that certain decision would make on the credibility of the evidence. That is public opinion. And we have this person as our DPP. And worse yet, her successor is speaking such glory of her. Imagine the innocent people in prison because of her. This is crazy, freedom. Freedom, this is crazy. Right? The victims of the rape, the initial investigation, they would have been swabbed. Body fluid would have been collected. It would be properly stored for evidence to be presented. Those swabs were tested. Scientific evidence proved that the men in custody, the men who they charged, weren't the men who had executed such a horrible act on those ladies. But yet Paula Llewelyn said, push on. So it goes to show you, Jamaica, the tendency, the MO of Paula Llewelyn as it relates to the Vice Cartel case. The tainted jury, Paula Llewelyn said, push on. So it is not the first Paula Llewelyn has corrupted herself. And if she's ignorant of the law says ignorancy of the law is no excuse. So she can't use that as an excuse. You have been appointed into high office to deliver justice for the Jamaican people. But what we have clearly established tonight is to show you the level of immoral act, unethical act. You have lost your moral compass, Paula Llewelyn. And as such, you are not to return to the DPP's office.